Good afternoon. We're going to go ahead and get started. And so we have a lot to cover today. And so my name, for those of you who don't know, my name is Royce Williams. I am a real estate agent here in the Tampa Bay area. I have been an agent for, actually, let me make sure. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me? I just want to make sure you guys on the Zoom. Can you hear me on the Zoom? Lynette, can you hear me? You can just put yes or no in the chat. Or if you want to, you can unmute yourself if you're able to. Because it's just very quiet. Usually I'll hear stuff on my computer, and so I just want to make sure you guys can hear me. So I'm assuming you can hear me. We're gonna go ahead and get started. Like I said, sorry, a lot has been going on today. I'm kind of actually putting out a lot of fires right now, and so I wanted to go ahead and cover this because this is a really, really important topic. Right now is like the best time for you to purchase new construction. It is home buying season for new construction, and so that it's just only right that I cover this topic earlier. Oh, let me back up. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Royce Williams. I'm a real estate agent here in the Tampa Bay area. I've been an agent for 13 years. I specialize in working with first-time home buyers. However, I am experienced in working with investors, sellers, luxury homes, first-time home buyers, all of the above. And so I am a very resourceful person for people who are in the real estate market. And so I am also an author. I am the author of Next Stop Home Ownership, which is a complete and interactive guide to buying your first home. So it has everything you need in order to purchase your first home, from, preparing your credit to qualify for a mortgage, all the way down to after you close and homesteading your home. And so these are all items that I make available to my clients and now the more general public. This is why I am doing these classes. And so today is our last class. All summer, we've been covering everything from, securing a home with life insurance to credit, to home inspections, to title services, everything that is related to the home buying process. We have covered it this summer. And so this is our final class as part of this series, but we will be having other things come up later. So just so you guys know, but I did want to cover today as part of our home buying 101 is we want to talk about buying new construction. So for those of you who are on the Zoom, you have access to see my screen. And so this is a home buying guide that I created in addition to, well, it's an actual ebook, but I created this in addition to the complete home buyer guide that I wrote. This one is actually specific for buying new construction. I do sell a lot of new construction homes, especially to first-time home buyers. It's almost like the easiest segue into home ownership. And so I want to cover this because right now is the best time to buy new construction. And so we'll talk about that whole process today. And then we'll also go over some tips for how to negotiate. Now, the goal is, if you don't have an agent that you're working with, you want to know these things. And even if you do have an agent, if your agent maybe doesn't have this information, you can kind of, work with them along the way. But I do want to share this information to you guys because I think it's imperative, especially with what I've been seeing in the market lately. And so let's get into it. Now, if you have any questions, feel free. If you're on Instagram, feel free to go ahead and put it in the question box or in the chat, and then I'll go ahead and answer them as I can. For those of you on the Zoom, you can either unmute yourselves or you can put it in the chat if you're not in a position to unmute yourself, and then I'll answer them as I go because, we want to make this interactive. I don't just want to spend the whole time talking to you guys, and then feel free to stop me if there's anything you don't understand, okay? So first things first, let's confirm you guys can see my screen right on the Zoom. You can just put in the chat if you can see my screen. I just want to make sure it's clear. I have that as sharing, but I just want to make sure you all can see it. Yes, thumbs up, no. Can you? Maybe not. Okay, I'm going to assume you guys can see it. All right. So This is a welcome message, but we're going to go ahead and skip over that. This is the table of contents. We're going to go ahead and skip over that as well. We are working, for those of you on Instagram, we're working directly out of the, this is a 42-page ebook. It's a guide to buying new construction. And so we will be working directly out of it. If you would like to follow along with us, feel free to click the link that's on the screen right now, or you can go ahead and come out of the live and click the first link in my bio, and it'll take you directly to register so you can get on the Zoom. All right. So the journey begins, new construction versus resale homes. The first thing you want to know is, what is the main benefit of buying new construction? There are several advantages to buying new construction versus resale. New construction essentially is anything that is brand new, being built. Resale homes are existing homes. Now, even a home that's only 1 year old, it is considered still a resale home if it's been previously owned by another homeowner. And so some of the advantages of buying new construction is you get to customize the home. So you can personalize the home by selecting the features such as the finishes. You can even select or edit the floor plans depending on the type of home you're buying and who you're buying it from. We'll cover the differences between new construction, a production builder versus a custom builder, because there are limitations depending on which builder you purchase from, but we'll go over that later. New construction homes are also more energy efficient. As new technology and new things come available and new knowledge, builders are constantly adjusting how they build homes. So if they have a new energy efficient window that they create, and that becomes a new standard, if you have a new home, you're getting your home built to the latest standards. That's why you'll see that, like, a lot of the older homes, their ceiling heights may be a lot, how they built homes back in the day. New homes are always built to the latest code. You also have the latest technology. So like a lot of these homes now, they're building them with smart technology. And so they come with like automated doorbells, the garage door openers. You can use it with your app to open and close the garage doors. The lights, you can control your lights with your phone. So like a lot of the homes are built now with new technology or smart home features. Also, another advantage of buying new construction is your home comes with a warranty. So like for those of you who have been renting, you have the luxury or the comfort or the safety net of knowing that if something happens with your house, you can go and talk to the leasing office and then they'll send someone to repair it. When you are a homeowner, that is not the case. You are the repairman. You are the one that is supposed to handle that. And so by building a new construction home, they all come with home warranties. Depending on the builder, they have different levels, but for the most part, the home warranty that comes with your home is the first year. Anything that happens with the home, you can call the builder and they'll get it fixed. As long as it's not something that was done intentionally. Like, so there are some exclusions, like for example, let's say the grass in your lawn dies. That is something that may not be covered. And the reason is because if you don't water the grass, then the grass will die. And so as a homeowner, you have to maintain your home. But if anything else happens with that has to deal with the workmanship and the construction of your home, it is covered for the first 2 years. The second year, everything behind the wall. So for the first 2 years, your AC, your plumbing, your electric, all of those things are covered by the builder. So if anything happens, you call them, they send out a specialist and it gets taken care of. Usually there's a 10-year structural warranty just to make sure that the outside, exterior, and the foundation of your home is secure. And then typically, if you register your appliances, they also come with their own individual warranty. So like your wash and dryer, if it's included, your stove, your refrigerator, all of those items, they're covered under the manufacturer warranty. Another benefit of buying new construction is homeowners insurance. Because your home is newer, is built to the latest code, is more sturdier. We live in Florida. Your insurance premium on a new construction home is usually a lot less because you're less of a risk. You have more of the features that protect your home from damage in the event of a hurricane or those types of natural disasters. Now, some of the disadvantages of buying new construction is that you have construction delays. For example, in Florida, we have hurricane season. So if your home is being built anytime between June and November, it rains a lot. So that may delay the completion of your home, which means that if you're renting or something like that, you may have to extend your lease. It just can get pretty sticky. And so a lot of builders these days, what they're doing is they're giving you a window. So like they'll have your home will be completed between September and November, or, it's usually like a 3-month window. And then as you get closer to completion, they'll give you a more definitive date. A particular builder here, they'll give you like a 30-day notice so that you can go and, you'll at least know within 30 days that you'll be closing. Sometimes the amenities may not always be established. So a lot of the new home communities, if you're buying a house for the amenities, sometimes if it's really new in the construction of the community, like they just started building, the amenity center may not be completed. And so if you're looking to get in the pool or something like that in your community, it may not be ready. Also, the trees, the vegetation, those things, they're not always mature. So some people, they like those, communities that they drive into and they have like the trees framing the roads and things like that. When you're in a new construction community, those things have to take time to get built up. Also, the uncertainty. Since your home isn't built, sometimes you don't know what the final product will look like. Of course, you'll have a pretty good idea because builders have like model homes. But sometimes if they don't, let's say, for example, when you went out shopping for your home and they didn't have a physical built example of what your home will be like, and you're just looking and picking your home from a floor plan, that can be a little bit of some uncertainty for you because you don't know how it's going to feel and exactly look when you get into it. And so those are things. And then definitely if you're building a custom home, you're literally picking from a floor plan. And then, of course, another disadvantage would be you're living in an unfinished community. So when I purchased my house, I bought it in the last phase of the community. However, and what I mean by that is a lot of builders, they build in phases so that the whole community, you don't have like one house over here, then way over here is another house, and way over there is another house. They kind of build it in phases so that the community gets built up at once. And so in your section, like say your house is coming available, your neighbor's house may not be fixed or the one across the street. And so what that means is sometimes you may be driving into construction. You definitely got to be careful because of the nails. I know a lot of times with me, I get a lot of nails in my tires, and so that it can be a disadvantage. And then also they're building like the construction is around you. You have to go around trucks. You have to go around big garbage dumps where they're putting the material waste in. And so those are things you kind of have to deal with until they kind of move away from your house. But the one benefit to that as well is if something breaks down, the people who are fixing things are in your area. So you can probably get your stuff fixed a lot quicker if the electrician is across the street putting electricity at the house, your neighbor's house. So it's kind of pro and con with that one. Now, the biggest distinction you need to know is a custom home is literally you're doing everything, meaning from the floor plan to the finishes in the house to making changes to different parts of the floor plan to everything. You're customizing everything. Custom homes sometimes can be a lot more expensive because there is a lot more flexibility, meaning you can pretty much do whatever you want. The sky is the limit. Now, when you're buying a production homes are like your Lennars, your D.R. Hortons, your Madamies, your Taylor Morrisons. And the reason they're called production homes is because they have a set amount of floor plans that you have to choose from. Some builders, production builders are more flexible than others in regards to like what you can do and the changes you can make as far as customizations. For example, Lennar, there's really no customizations you can make. They kind of build inventory homes. They make all of the selections. So they'll choose a package. Let's say it's the white cabinet package or the gray cabinet package or the espresso package. You kind of have to, if you like a particular floor plan, you kind of have to, from their inventory list, let's say you want the Providence floor plan, but then you want white cabinets. You kind of have to look through their inventory to see which one has white cabinets, right? Now, when you go with maybe like a Taylor Morrison or maybe a Mattamy Homes, or no, a MI, and it depends on the community because not all communities allow you to customize. But some of the production builders actually have what's called a design center where you can go and customize the home. You can actually pick the lot that you want. You can put your floor plan that you want on that lot. They typically have different options for how you can adjust the floor plan on that lot. And so you can make some customizations, but it's nowhere as much as what you can do with a custom home. Do we have questions on any of that? And I apologize. And so within the production homes, you have to be built and then you have inventory homes. To be built is exactly what I just mentioned, where you go, you pick the lot, you pick the floor plan, and it usually takes between 4 to 9 months for it to get built. And that's just because of permitting and things like that. And then you go to the design center, you pick all your options. So like your flooring, you get to pick your countertops, your cabinets, and things like that. Inventory homes are the ones where the builder already pre-selected everything that's going to go into the house, and you're essentially just buying the house as it is. You're always, this is a major tip. You're always going to get a better deal on the inventory homes versus any other home, because guess what? The builder is trying to sell that house, because once the house is completed, they're losing money every day that it sits on the market unsold. So whenever you're going to buy a house, whether it's the beginning of the year, end of the quarter, you're always going to get a better deal on an inventory home because they're trying to push that home first. And so you'll see, like, for example, right now, I had a builder who reached out because I get inventory lists from builders all the time. They have a house that was listed for $349. That house was heavily discounted because guess what? It's going to be done next month. So they want to sell it. They don't want it to sit unsold. And so they are pushing that particular house. That same floor plan is going to be ready in October, and it's listed for $40K more. Guess what's going to happen as it gets closer to the end of next month and that house is sitting unsold? That house is now going to be more discounted because guess what? They don't want it to sit unsold, right? And so this is kind of like some of the things you want to do when it comes to these builders is you have to be strategic as far as wanting to know, how to move when it comes to getting the deals with the builders. And so resale homes, we talked about resale homes. Resale homes are just existing homes that have been on the market. The biggest benefit or reason people choose resale homes over new construction is they're already established. Also, a lot of times with a resale home, you may get the upgrades you may get upgrades that you may want included. So for example, what I mean by that is not all builders will put a pool in your home. And let's say you want a pool, but you don't want to pay the extra money, or the builder that you're going with doesn't even build pools. You would have to do it after. With you buying a resale home, you kind of can pick it. Sometimes you'll have design on the walls that they may do. They may do custom lighting. They may do surround sound. These are things that you may not get with a new construction home. You may have to do it after. So a lot of people sometimes want all of that stuff built in, and then you can sometimes get it for the same price as new construction. Because a lot of times these resale homes, especially if, let's say, a person purchased a home 2 years ago, but the builder is still building, that's their biggest competition. And so sometimes they'll discount their house or match what the builder is selling, even though they have upgrades in their home, just so that they can get it sold. We won't go too much further into the advantage and disadvantage. I think you guys pretty much get it. Let's move on to the process. And so initially, when you're buying new construction, you definitely want to connect with a real estate agent. A real estate agent essentially will be able to kind of guide you, depending on your criteria on what new construction home may match your needs the most, and especially when it comes to price point. And so there is a resource that you can use to search for new construction in your area. So the website that you want to use to search for new construction is called newhomesource.com. Newhomesource.com. I'm going to put in the chat. Newhomesource.com. And essentially what you can do is you can put in, go to that website, you can put in your criteria, and you can basically just search for all of the new homes in your area based on your price point, based on the number of bedrooms, things like that. This is a third-party website. I won't say that it's updated as often as the actual builder website. So what I usually recommend that you do when you're on that website is you go on there. if you find a community that may match your needs, I would tell you to put in a Google search. Let's say it's Lennar Balm Grove community. You will put it in your Google search and go directly to the builder's website to get the updated inventory list, the updated pricing, and all that stuff. Because this is a third-party website, they kind of sync, but sometimes it doesn't update. Like builders can add things, within hours, and it won't necessarily sync to the website. And you just get more information on the community and all that, because this website just gives you like a list of everything that's available, right? And then you can go and get more specific information on the website. Now, this step is pretty important because typically, once you connect with a real estate agent, the agent is going to guide you on the necessary steps depending on where you are in the process and what your needs are and your specific situation. I typically recommend that you get pre-approved with an outside lender just because you don't want to be going out there looking at houses and you don't know if you're approved for them. I don't like setting people up for that. And then also not just because it may be above your budget, but it also may be below your budget and you can get more than what you're looking at. So it just kind of depends. And so it kind of gets a little confusing, or I guess optional as far as how you move forward is because a lot of builders, when I say the next step being get pre-approved for a mortgage, a lot of builders have their own mortgage company attached, and they usually attach the incentives that they offer you to you using their mortgage company. So sometimes, if you already know offer it, you say, hey, Royce, I know I'm going to go and buy a new construction home. What I would rather do is have you we explore a couple options. And then once you find a builder, because a lot of times these builders, they build the same homes in multiple communities. So like the same floor plans, depending on the location, the prices will vary, but it's literally the same floor plan, right? So if there's a particular floor plan you like, and you want to move forward on it, I would say let's go and get you pre-approved with that builder, because you don't want to have to go and pull your credit multiple times if we know, because if you go and get pre-approved with an outside lender and then you want to go with the new construction home builder and use their incentives, you're going to have to go and get pre-approved again. Does that make sense? And I know I may be talking fast, but I'm trying to fit all of this in an hour, or as much of it as an hour. We probably won't cover everything, but I definitely want to cover all of the major things that I wanted to give you guys today. But yeah, it kind of just depends. So I would say get with your agent just to kind of figure out which route works best for you. If you feel like there may be some things on your credit and you're not exactly sure where you stand, then it's probably best to get pre-approved with a third party. And then if you decide to still go with new construction, you can do that route. You definitely want to know what it is you're looking for. So you want to define your vision. So you want to sit down, write out your must-haves, your don't wants, and your deal breakers, so you know exactly what you're looking for. You also want to research the builders, and so there's a lot of local builders for you to choose from. You want to get like reviews online, but I always tell you take that with a grain of salt, because it's most likely, more times than not, it's the people that are unhappy that are the ones going on and getting trigger happy with their fingers and typing on the thing. So unless your people are like really really impressed or really like just hate the builder, those are the kind of extremes you're going to get. But I always say it's good to look at it, because then you know what to ask. Because a lot of times, let's say you're looking at a review from like way back when, the builder may have already resolved that drywall issue that a lot of people were experiencing, because it was an issue that they had to fix. So these are things that you kind of want to bring up when you're going through the house. And then your agent, I know for me, I'm very experienced in working with builders, and so you can ask me, I can tell you what like the pros and cons of each builder that I've experienced and my clients have experienced as well. And so then you want to choose a community. So your community kind of goes based on where you want to be. Like I mentioned, if you like a particular floor plan, then sometimes we can kind of find it in another area and it may be less. You never know. Or if you're flexible and you say, hey, I really like this floor plan, but I don't want to pay what it costs to live in Brandon, you may find it in review and it may be 20, 40, 50K less. And so you might be like, okay, well, I'm willing to go and purchase a home in Riverview to get the actual home that I really, really want. We talked about amenities, we talked about models. All homes have, new homes communities typically have a model for you to walk through. And that way you can kind of get an idea of the construction, the finishes that they do, some of the floor plans. You get to literally walk through the house and get a feel for it. It's not to say we get to choose the lot. Now, if this is a to be built, once you go through the model home, you get to choose your lot. Lots usually sometimes come with a premium. So if you are on a cul-de-sac, or maybe you have a pie-shaped lot that goes out like this, and what that means is it has more land, then it's going to come at a premium. And so those prices typically vary. And so these are things you want to think about, because whenever you're purchasing a new construction home, especially if it's a to be built, there's a base price. So when you go on the websites for all the builders, you'll see starting at. Starting at is the base price. Once you get the base price, if it's a to be built, then that means, okay, we got to add the lot. Then if we change anything with like the structural floor plans, let's say, for example, the standard feature is in your main primary suite, that it's a separate tub and it's a shower. Sorry, it's a shower. But they have an option for you to do a separate tub and shower. And so that option may cost you $12,000. So now that base price of $300,000, now you're at $312, because now you got to add on the cost of the separate tub and shower. And then let's just say your lot costs you another $3,000. Now you're at $315. So this is how like your cost is creeping up. Now, when you purchase an inventory home, all of those features that the builder added are already included in the price, and whatever price you see is the price that you get. Okay. And so that's how come a lot of times inventory homes are a lot less expensive, just because one, they're ready. And so the builder's discounting them, but then they kind of build them in bulk. And so they get more savings for the materials, because they're buying them from, several houses. Whenever you're customizing, you're going and you're buying something onesie here, twosie there, and you're picking and choosing, and that costs a little bit more, right? And so once you choose your lot, you go ahead, you go into contract, you do the pre-approval process. Once you see what it will cost, typically that's where we start negotiating. A lot of times when you go into a new home community, builders, they kind of lowered their incentives, when we had that big frenzy from COVID, from the pandemic. But for the most part, builders are always offering some type of incentive, and those incentives either come in the form of, like, if you're doing a to be built, they may give you flex cash to spend at the design center, meaning they may say, okay, well, the house is 300,000, we're giving you 20K to go and, add options. So now whatever you added, that 315 now is still free for you. You still have an extra 5,000, because they gave you a $20,000 to do whatever you wanted with it. And so these are the things that you kind of want to look at. And then what my process would be, whenever I'm working with a client, and let's say we're doing a to be built, is you pick all of your options, we see how much it costs, then we get to negotiating. Okay, this house is 385. Let's, see what we can get. Can I get 50K? And I'm just throwing out numbers here. Everything is for negotiation, so nothing is set in stone. But that's when we started asking for more. And a lot of people don't know that you can actually ask for more than what the builder's offering. And we'll kind of go a little bit deeper into how you do that, because there are limits on what the builder can give you, but you don't have to accept just what they're offering you. And so a lot of times, if you go in there by yourself and you don't have an agent representing you, you got to remember that whatever agent is in that office, they work for the builder. So their objective is to sell the home for the highest price. And so when you have your own agent coming in and helping you, we're here trying to get it for the lowest price we can get it for. And that's how you get to, get better deals than whatever is already on the table. You sign the contract. Once you select your options and all that stuff, and you don't always select your options all up front, because if you're doing like a to be built and you have to go to the design center, most of the time what you select up front is your structural options, the ones that are like you need permits for. So like if you change that tub and that shower into a separate tub and shower, there's a permit that needs to be pulled for that. So they need more time. So those are things that you usually pick up front. And then at a later date, you will go and make an appointment to go to the design center. and they'll, have you come in and select all of your finishes. So like your flooring and things like that. But it's always good to kind of have an idea. What you can do to kind of get an idea of how much you think you're going to spend, because when you go on a design center, you can get crazy, right? And so you have to have a budget. So you got to figure out what's important to you to have in a home. And things I usually say that you want to focus on are things that you don't really want to have to fix after. So like flooring, that would be pretty inconvenient to do after closing. So you may want to just go ahead and finance your flooring. Same thing with countertops. If it's not like a ridiculous amount, you just got to remember, you going through the builder is financing all of that into your mortgage, and it's being spread out over 30 years. And so it may just be worth it. I'm going to tell you what I did. I didn't want to do my floors with the builder. We definitely got a cheaper amount for it. But guess what? When we purchased the home, we had to have the people come in and take out all the tile, because the builder can't sell you a house without a tile. We knew we were going to put wood floors. I even asked, I was like, don't put nothing on the floor. We going to change it, but they can't sell it to you like that. So it took them like 2 days to take out all the tile. It was dust everywhere. Yeah, if I had to do it all over again, I would have just paid the extra money to have them do the floors, because they did it during construction, and then we can move in right away because we had to have everything done, right? So these are things that you kind of want to focus on. And so a lot of the builders, they will have what's called like a list of all of their options that you can choose from, so that you can kind of get an idea of what things are costing when we're negotiating, so we can see how much money you may want to ask for in addition to what they're already offering. And remember, this is negotiation. So, they may not say yes, but, at the end of the day, a closed mouth don't get fed if you don't ask, right? We're always going to ask. And so we talked about going to the design center. You're going to meet with your phase 5 is you're going to meet with you're going to meet with the construction manager. They'll walk through everything with you. Depending on what phase you bought your home in, if it's already done or pretty much done, you will have what's called let's back up. Let's say your house doesn't have the walls. Let's say you bought it and it's in framing stage. If it's in framing stage, you will get a pre-drywall walkthrough where they will walk you through the house and show you where everything is before they put up the drywall. A lot of times when you're buying inventory and you're wanting to get that really, really good deal, they're already past this phase and you're not going to get that walkthrough. Your financing and closing date, you'll get all of that information from the builder. Typically, as soon as you go under contract, that's where all your timelines start ticking, because you're going to start working with the loan officer. So in the beginning, before going under contract, you got a pre-approval, but now that you actually are under contract, the loan officer that you're working with is going to start working with you on getting you fully approved for that house. And so that's where all the intensity starts happening. And they will come and, basically ask you for your soul. They're going to want everything but your blood type, but, don't worry. They're just trying to make sure that everything you're doing, you can basically afford the home with no problem, because they're definitely trying to eliminate, what we went through with the recession before, and we had all of those foreclosures. Once your house is basically done, you'll have what's called like a new home orientation. And essentially what that is you'll walk through with the construction manager, or the customer care person, depending on whatever builder you use. They have different names for them. And they'll show you the house. So they're going to show you where like your major water cutoff. They're going to show you how to maintain your AC. They're going to show you everything there is to know about the house, the sprinkler system, all of that good stuff, right? Also, this is the opportunity for you to mark up the house. Not all builders are doing this anymore, so it just kind of depends, but we call it the blue tape process. And basically, the goal is whenever you're walking through your home during this new home orientation is only to find like cosmetic things. So like maybe paint chips, scratches, because, you got so many different trades coming through the house. They ding stuff all the time. So the blue tape, and they use blue and green tape, depending on what it is, to mark up all of those items. And so those are things that you will do. Once you do the new home orientation, it's usually a week before closing where you do this walkthrough. and then your closing is scheduled for the following week. Before going to closing, you will go back and do a final walkthrough of the home. And that's just to make sure that everything that we marked up, and you usually do the new home orientation with like whoever's buying the house, or if you wanted a third set of eyes on the house with you, to just kind of make sure you get as much as you can. Because remember, you're not going to find everything. A lot of stuff you may not see. You may just be laying on the bed one day and you'll see like a mark on the ceiling. That's what the home warranty is for. They'll come back and do whatever needs to be done after. But you try to get as much as you can, and your realtor, definitely you want to have them do the new home orientation with you. And that way, whatever you guys saw, closing day, either the day before or the day of closing, you'll do a final walkthrough to make sure that they fix everything that you identified. Okay. Once you get them the final go ahead, you go to closing, you get your keys. And then, that's pretty much the process of purchasing a new home. So now let's talk about, we won't go over like key professionals because we kind of talked about that throughout the explanation of the process. So you have your real estate agent, you have the builder sales agent. That's the person that you will walk into a home with and see. But yeah, these are all people that you're going to encounter throughout the process. You have your loan officer, your loan processor, the underwriter. If you get this home buyer, this ebook, you'll be able to read through all of these and the essential roles they play. One thing I do want to cover though is whenever you're buying new construction, typically when you buy a resale house, you have to get a home inspector, and there's like a certain time frame of when you have to get this inspection done to decide whether or not you're moving forward with the purchase or you're backing out and getting your money back, right? With new construction, you don't have to have a third-party inspector. Throughout the whole process, the city is doing several inspections. Builders, they typically hire their own third-party companies to do inspections on their homes and things like that. However, you have the right to do a home inspection if you want to. So if you decide, you just have to let the builder know that you plan to do a home inspection. And typically that's done either the day before, day after, or same day of your new home orientation. What the builder typically want to see is they want to make sure that your home inspector is licensed and that they have liability insurance while they're on the property, because their home inspector will be getting on the roof, they'll be climbing on things. And so they don't want them to get themselves hurt and then be trying to, sue the builder. And so I highly recommend, it's not required, but I highly recommend that you get a home inspection, because remember, a lot of these production builders, they're building hundreds of these homes at a time. And, some of the people they have building the homes, they're not necessarily overachievers. So there are, and you have the human effect, right? So there's times where, things are not built perfectly, and maybe they didn't catch it, or one of the inspectors, the city inspectors didn't catch it, but you did, and your inspector did. And so you definitely want someone on your team. Whenever you hire a home inspector, that is a fee that you'll have to pay yourself, and so it's paid outside of closing. It's just an additional fee. Again, it's not required, but I highly recommend. When I bought my house, I did on both houses that I bought new. I bought new construction. The house I'm in now is new construction. They actually, and it wasn't too much that was wrong with my house, and I actually didn't even notice it. But my inspector found that they installed my cabinets too low in the laundry room, and it was causing my washer and dryer to be pushed out further. And so, yeah, the builder was able to get it in line with the door frame, but my inspector caught it, and guess what? They had to move all my cabinets up, and then my wash and dryer was able to, comfortably go under. These are things that you want them to catch, because you imagine, me moving in and now I have to have them come in and put dust everywhere and move my cabinets up. These are things your home inspector could catch for you. And so I highly recommend it. I know I talked about it for quite a while, but this is a huge purchase that you're making. And so you just kind of want to make sure that you do, dot all your I's and cross as many T's as you can. But you do also have the safety of having a home warranty, which is why a lot of, especially first-time home buyers, they have that peace of mind knowing that, hey, no one has ever lived in this house. I pretty much know the history because I'm the only homeowner. There shouldn't be any hidden issues, but if there is things that come up, I have a home warranty to protect me. All right, so that's that. Now, you do have the same financing options as you do when you're buying a resale home. So you got conventional home mortgages, you got FHA, VA, USDA, depending on the area. Builders also sometimes may have their own special financing that you can take advantage of. So for example, there's a builder here, they have their own like down payment assistance type program that they do for their client or their buyers. And so those are all things that are available to you. So let's talk interest rates. And the only reason I'm going to talk about interest rates right now is because um, interest rates is huge right now. So the rates have dropped. It is confirmed that in September we will be seeing another drop as far as like the Fed rates are going to be dropping. Our market pretty much, and this is not me talking because I'm not a loan officer, but our market pretty much has started to react to the news of the rate drop. So rates right now for FHA, VA, they're actually under 6%. They're more around like 5.75. What a lot of the builders did, and this is why they're able to offer below market interest rates for a lot of the homes that they're selling, is they bought these mortgages well in advance. And as the rates are going down, they're able to go even lower. So for example, in my email right now, we have builders who have rates as low as 1.99. And what that is it's part of like a 3-2-1 buy down where the first 3 years, the rate is, lower. It increases every year. But on the fourth year through year 30, it's a set price. So what I mean by that is that one builder that's offering the rate at 1.99, the first year is 1.99, the second year is 2.99, the third year is 3.99 interest rate, and then the fourth year through year 30 is 4.99 interest rate, which when you think about it, that rate is still significantly lower than the interest rate of 5.75, which 5.75, no hold, that is a good rate. We haven't really been seeing those rates for the last 17 months. And so right now, like if you're trying to buy new construction on top of the rates already being under 6%, now we're starting to see where the rates like 1.99, y'all, the first year. And the whole point of that step is so that you can kind of graduate into the higher interest rate, but 4.99 is still a lot lower. And then, maybe in 3 years, you can refinance, maybe the rates will go down and you can get a lower rate than 4.99, right? Or let's say right now it's tight, 1.99 gets you that, $1,500 payment that you really want. But in 3 years, you're gonna, get a promotion on your job. You may get, married and you got two incomes coming in. Like that payment, once it's at 4.99, is gonna be a lot easier to do. So sometimes you'll be able to choose that option. So yes, the deals that they have, it depends on the builders. So the builder that's offering that 1.99 rate, they have homes in different communities, but it's that particular builder. I have builders that got all types of different interest rate specials, 4.875, 3.99 I've seen, 5.5, I've seen 4.99. It just kind of depends on the builder. And then remember too, depending on your interest rate and where you're starting at, the builders are buying down your rates with the money that they're offering you. So let's say, example, D.R. Horton right now, they're offering 4.99 interest rate for all of their communities. So they have townhomes, villas, single family homes. All of their communities is offering 4.99 interest rate, and then up to $20,000 in down payment, not down payment assistance, closing cost incentives. And so let's say it don't cost that much, for all your closing costs, and you have 4.99, you can potentially buy it down lower. So you can actually get a lower than 4.99 rate if you have extra money, or if you want to bring extra money to the table to get a lower interest rate. Does that make sense? So these are things that is happening right now. I cannot stress enough how important this time of year. It's my favorite time of year when it comes to buying new construction, because when I tell you these builders are doing insane deals, they're doing insane deals. I just sent all of my clients last night. There is a house that is like 25, almost 2,600 square feet. It's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage, 2-story home. It has a loft and a flex space. Brand new. I haven't seen these price. I think this builder honestly is doing some type of disruption, if you ask me, because they're selling homes way below market value, or at least the market value that we've been seeing. Because, you know, Tampa, our market has exploded. A lot of the prices that we're seeing, that's not what we were seeing, you know, pre-COVID, and they haven't really gone back down. They've stabilized to more, you know, regular amounts, but they haven't really gone down like we want. Like, you know, before COVID, you can get a new construction townhome for like low 200s, under 200,000. Now that's like very hard and, you know, rare to find. I actually seen, and I know I'm getting off topic now, y'all, because I just get excited because the deals is dealing right now, right? And so I actually had a new construction townhome in Ruskin area, and it was a 2-bedroom, 2.5 bath with a 1-car garage, brand new on the on a pond. And normally they retail for like 250, you know, between 250 and 289, depending on where it is. So this one being on the pond would have probably been closer to 289. They discounted that house to 229. And on top of that, they were offering a 4.5 interest rate, and they were paying all your closing costs. So essentially all you needed was your down payment. Stupid. It was insane. So like these are deals that's happening right now. These are deals that you can take advantage of. And honestly, it's only going to get better the closer we get to the end of their fiscal year. So Lennar, I'm talking about Lennar right now, their fiscal year, and it's important for you guys to know when the builder's fiscal year is, because their fiscal year is actually November, not December. So if you're trying to catch a good deal with Lennar, you need to close by November. So you'll start seeing any houses that are closed like by the end of November, they're doing stupid deals. Once it gets past November, you still gonna get a deal because they're still gonna run you your closing cost money, but there ain't gonna be nothing compared to what you can get if that house closes in November. So it's very important to know also the fiscal year end and the year each quarter end. Lennar, that house that was discounted to 230, that was a Lennar home. And the reason they did it is because that house is ready now, and they wanted it to close in August. August is the end of their quarter. Because guess what? September, October, November, that's their next quarter. Does that make sense? Insane. It's insane, Lindsay. I can't make it up. And that's why I'm gonna be honest with y'all, because you know, y'all my girls. I get a little frustrated because I'm like, there's a lot of people, and not I'm talking about any of you guys, but it's people that I've been working this year who, you know, they're saying, oh, I'm gonna wait till the interest rates go down, and then I'm gonna purchase a home. And I'm like, all I preach to people is while you're waiting, make sure you are preparing yourself. Your credit needs to be on point. When I say on point, you want to have at least a 640, right? You want to try and strive for at least a 640, because a 640 will allow you the opportunity to get qualify for as many of the loan options. So for like down payment assistance, if you want to do down payment assistance, you can get it down payment. You can qualify for it with 640. You also need to be saving your money, right? You need to have your money saved, because in this example that I just gave you with the townhome, all you need is your down payment. And so 230, what was that? Like maybe almost $8,000 you needed just for your down payment. Could you imagine how much more you needed if the builder wasn't paying all your closing costs, which as you pass the fiscal year, the incentives will drop. The incentives will go down. They may not be offering as much as they were willing to offer. Like right now, that house I sent out to my clients is listed for 389. But guess what? The builder, I talked to the agent last night, and she was like, well, just submit an offer. And I'm like, well, I'm going to submit the offer for which I just sold it for 350. And she's like, well, just do it. That's a 40K price drop on top of still getting that special interest rate, and on top of still getting all your closing costs paid. I cannot make this up. If you were waiting all year to figure out when was the best time to jump in, jump, splash, swim, because now is the best time. I cannot make it up. Deals are dealing. These builders are cutting deals because like now they have a lot of inventory. Once the inventory starts to dwindle, they're not going to be as, you know, free or as motivated to drop prices or give you guys extra incentives. And so these are things that you need to talk about, right? You need to be thinking about this. So whenever you're buying a home, remember your budget. Because like I mentioned, if you're doing to be built, going to the design center, you can completely crush the budget, because when I tell you, it's like, a kid in a candy store with all the options and things you have that you can actually select from, right? So you just want to make sure that you, depending on you buying it with a spouse or whoever, you guys sit together and make a budget, because more important than the price of the home is the actual monthly payment. And I talk to a lot of my buyers about that. The monthly payment is more important than the price. And so you want to kind of come up with a budget that you want to spend monthly on your home, and make sure that when you're working with the lender, and you're adding whatever you're adding or not, if you're getting an inventory home, which you'll always get a better deal on the inventory home that's sitting, you want to make sure that you have a budget in mind, because it may require you to put more money down, or maybe it may make more sense to use the money that the builder gives you to buy down the rate further to get closer to the budget or at your budget. These are things that you want to talk about, right? And so we already talked about base price, and how when you look online, the base price is just the base price of the floor plan. Once you start adding options and picking, home sites and all that, the price goes up. We talked about structural options. Those are the options where, you change, a room. So let's say this room, how it's built now, is open, but you want to put double doors. That's a structural option. Those things need to get taken, a permit for. Design options, we talked about all of this stuff, right? So do we have any questions on anything? Because I want to kind of make sure we go through as much as we can. We're on page 22 of 42. So there's a lot of information in here, and it's 12:58. And so I covered the majority of what I wanted to cover, but I can keep going through this. This is a ebook that I offer on my website. It's only $19, and it's, quick download, but I literally I go through everything in this ebook. Now, let's kind of real quick, while, if you guys think of any questions, talk about things you can ask for. So like, one of the biggest things you want to be focused on is when you negotiate more money. Let's say the builder's offering 10,000, and you and your savvy realtor like me, we get them to come up to, like, let's say 20K, right? There are limits on how much a lender can give you. So for example, I'm going to take out my phone and let's use a calculator for, easy math. Let's say you buy a $300,000 house and you're going FHA. The rule is with FHA, a builder, seller, you can't get seller concessions. So whether you're buying resale, new construction, anybody who's involved in the transaction, your realtor, no one from that side of the transaction can give you more than 6% of the, they can't contribute more than 6% towards the purchase of your home. So 300,000 times 6%, max you can get is 18,000. So remember, in that same example, we asked for 20K. You cannot use the 20K. You can't get 20K from the builder. And so that's why it can go either way. So we know, we'll know for sure, Lynette, we'll know how much you can ask the builder for. Because let's say, for example, you're looking at an offer and they're saying, we're going to give you 10K. But we did the math at 300,000, y'all can give us 18. So guess what we're asking for? We're asking for 18,000. We can't ask for 20 because 20 is too much based on the 6% rule. Does that make sense? And so these are things you need to know when you're going to a builder, because they're new home sales agent. Again, they work for the builder. They're not going to tell you these things. Every now and again, if they're trying to really get a deal moving and they can sense your hesitation, they may bring up this stuff, because a lot of them have money in their back pocket and they only bring it out as needed. Whereas my job is to open their pocket and be like, I see them dollars in there. We want it all, right? We want it all. So I'm telling you that. So if you're looking at builders and things like that, you need to know those numbers based on whatever, financing program you're going through. What is the max amount you can get? Also, whatever money you don't use, you lose it. So sometimes when you get your contract, you're going to see up to 18,000, up to this amount. You want to make sure that whenever you're going through the financing process, you use all of the money that they put on the table, because if you don't use it, they're going to keep it. So one of the things we did with my last client, we had extra money and we don't leave anything on the table. We want all the crumbs, right? And so we actually ended up having it to where we paid a year. We paid a year up front for her HOA. We did. We paid a year upfront for her HOA. And so she was able, her HOA is like $259 a month. And so, you know, especially if, let's say, this house, when you bought it, it was a little bit above budget already. And so you're like, okay, how can I save money? At least the first year, your HOA, that's $259 that you just saved for a whole year. And you didn't have to pay it because we got it money from the builder and we used that money to pay your HOA. And so while we're on this screen and we're talking about fees, another fee that you have to be on the lookout for with new home communities is what's called a community development district. It's for short, it's called a CDD fee. And a CDD fee is essentially a fee that the builder incurs and passes on to the homeowners or home buyers when they purchase a home. It's a bond where they borrow from the county to develop the infrastructure of the community. The CDD fee is you paying back that bond. It usually lasts like 30 years or so. And so I tell people, you know, you're going to be paying this fee, and the fee varies based on the community. So like all the lights, you know, maybe the community. Typically, sometimes there is two parts to that CDD fee. There's a maintenance fee and the maintenance portion, and then there's um, a bond portion, which is you paying back the debt. Once the debt is paid off, then it falls off, and then you just have that maintenance portion. Okay. Now you need to be careful with CDDs because CDDs increase your monthly payment. CDD fees are paid as part of your taxes. And so they can kick you out of qualifying. That's why I keep telling people more important than the actual purchase price is the payment. Because if you have purchase a home in a CDD community and a CDD fee, let's say is $200 a month, you know, now we're not looking at a $300,000 home. We maybe have to look at a $270,000 home to account for that portion of the CDD fee that you have to pay monthly. So these are all things that you kind of want to be thinking about when you're shopping for a home. You want to look at the fees. You want to look at the taxes. We're getting beyond. So I can go on and on about new construction all day. But I don't want to hold you guys too far. Maybe we'll do a part 2 of this because we're on page 22 and we can talk about budgeting. We can talk about reader reviews, which we kind of covered that a lot too. Selecting the right builder. I have questions in here for you to ask the builder. And so these are questions that I always say when you're selecting a builder, these are questions you can ask. But yeah, the negotiating with builders, we talked about it. The starting point, timing. Yeah, we can kind of go as far deep into this as you guys want me to. So I'll get your feedback. I want to do pause right here just to kind of get some questions. Lynette says, I'll call because I'm interested in a house in a new development in Lithia. Lynette, what community is that? There's several is it Hawkstone that you're talking about? Because they have several communities in Lithia. Do you have any questions about anything that we covered? Do you guys want me to go further, go deeper? Like, what are you guys, where I'm gauging your time right now? Because it's 1:05. And so typically I like these trainings to be, you know, an hour, no more than an hour. But I know for me, my home buying one-on-one seminars usually go over just because it's so much information. It's so much information. So do you guys have questions? Give me some feedback. Unmute yourselves. Because I don't know what you
No
want.
questions.
What'd you say?
No question right now. I'm
Do
still
y'all
working.
want me to go further? Oh, you're still working?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Do you want me to go on? You guys want a part 2?
I think part 2 is good.
Yeah, because this is a lot of information, so I don't want to overwhelm you. And I know people have to go, you know, you guys are working. This is supposed to be a lunch and learn. And so we'll do a part 2. I don't know when I'll schedule it. But what I may actually do, I just may do it live. So I may pick an evening and just do it live. It may not be, well, Do you guys value being able to look at the ebook or no? Doesn't matter.
I wasn't really able to look at it
Nope.
because I'm mainly listening. So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll do a part two. Fish hawk. Okay. So we'll do a part two, and I'll cover the rest. But I pretty much explained a lot too. You guys today, like I said, now is buying season. If you're looking, if next year you don't want to buy next year, you're always looking at the end of each quarter. If you have to move, you have to move, right? They're always going to have deals. But be strategic. Timing is like the key point. And then you want to look at all the incentives that they're buying. And then so the end of each quarter, the best time to buy is the end of each fiscal year, and then the next best time is the end of towards the end of each quarter. So like if you start now, here's the thing too, and I'll say this and we'll end for the day. When you're considering buying at the end of each quarter, if you're financing usually takes 30 to 45 days or 30 to 60 days, depending on the loan program you choose, right? Some programs take longer than others because they need the county approval to get approved. So it just kind of depends. Um, the closer you get to not being able to close within the time frame that the builder wants you to close, then you start losing your incentive. So for example, if you're trying to buy a Lennar home, right, and you know the end of their fiscal year is November, you want to be under contract probably no later than the beginning of November if you're financing, because they can maybe do it in 30 days. But if you're like mid-November, they already know that it's no possibility of you closing in November, and you're no longer a priority. So does that make sense? So meaning you have to time when you go under contract as well, because the closer you get to not meeting that deadline of closing within the year, you're kind of knocking yourself out of qualifying for the extra incentives. So I just want to say that I will do more. This was the last class for the summer home ownership series. I will be restarting something different. I haven't decided yet. Just want to get, this was done weekly. So it was a lot, and we kind of started in May. And so I am going to kind of create another schedule. I have a few other projects that I'm working on. But my goal is to educate you guys. I want to be your main resource because I know a lot has changed with all of the new requirements as far as like the NAR settlement, things like that, where some people may decide, because now it may be your responsibility to pay your agent based on, what you choose to buy. And so these are things you want to think about. I will say that one of the things that I haven't seen change is builders are still paying your agent's fee. So if you're buying new construction, I haven't seen a builder that said, oh, we're not going to pay your agent's fee. So at minimum, you don't have to worry about that when it comes to buying new construction. So those fees are not going to be considered as part of your responsibility. So with that being said, I want to thank you all for being here today. Again, if you want to purchase this ebook, maybe I'll give you guys a discount. It's $19, but maybe I'll create like sell it for 10. I'll give you guys a discount for $9 if you want to get your own copy. And then it is everything you need to know about buying a house. There's a glossary in here. There's, tips on, negotiating. Of course, if you're working with me personally, you get me to help you through this. But if not, and you want to have a resource, this ebook is perfect. And you can get it on my website at www.nextstophomeownership.com. And so until then, I will be in touch with you all. Again, I appreciate you being here, and feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about anything. Lynette, definitely reach out to me so we can talk a little bit more about the houses you're looking at in Fishhawk, okay? And if you have questions, feel free to reach out. All right. Did you guys find this information? Hi, did you find it helpful? Was it helpful?
Yes, very informative.
Okay. All right. I'll leave you alone, Lizzie. I appreciate you always showing up, though. I do. I love it. I love it. I appreciate it. You guys have a good afternoon.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.